Welcome to Podcast Heroes, episode 27. Now for some news. Alright, so it's Sinatra week.
That was incredibly morose.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Morose.
I'm also glad you recovered from your deadly illness from last week, or whatever it was you were doing.
Both deadly illness and performing in the Kansas City Symphony.
How was that?
It was good. If you don't know, this is kind of cool. Just because the Royals are in the World Series, in our last concert, which was Sunday, once it was confirmed that the Royals were in the World Series, the director of the Kansas City Symphony, Michael Stern, along with the entire Kansas City Symphony, issued a challenge after the last concert, and it was video recorded. And it was about a 5-minute long challenge to the New York Philharmonic.
Oh, wow.
And basically it's that they're going to wear Royals jerseys if we win. We're going to wear Mets jerseys if they win. We're going to buy them Kansas City barbecue. They're going to buy us bagels and lox. And he also has to wear the hat of the team.
Wow.
So that's kind of fun. And the director of the New York Philharmonic responded, and he accepted the challenge.
Okay, so it's official.
So that was kind of cool. It was on the front page of Fox News, which
Wow.
was kind of fun.
Wow, so you made headlines.
Oh yeah, I was on there. You could barely see my legs.
Yeah, I tried looking for you on the video, and
I was that guy who was there was most 80% of me, all but my head.
yeah,
Okay.
all but the most recognizable part
Right.
of you, since you all dress like penguins.
Right, we all dress in tuxedos.
So yeah, I guess that's an exciting bit of news then.
Yeah.
Go Royals.
Yes.
Now also, go Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm World Championship.
Yeah, we started the group stage for that. We're going to get into the esports, a little bit side of all of that kind of stuff. But I know Aaron had some really exciting things to talk about as far as
News.
Events and what's going on in Heroes the Game instead of Heroes the Esports. So why don't you break it down for us?
First of all, if anyone tells you it's Artanis Week, they're wrong. They're not doing it my way.
Which is
Which is
back-asswards.
Sinatra, who does it my way. It's the Hallows End event now. So you need to win 25 games. If you're terrible, play against AI. You will win 25 games. It's very difficult not to win 25 games against AI. And you get I think just an icon.
Yeah, you get a nice
Yes,
portrait.
Hollow's End icon, I believe
Yep.
it is.
Pick up a virtual ticket to BlizzCon. I don't know. Do you know how much they are?
A lot.
Too much.
Too much for a virtual
I think
ticket
it's something
to
like
BlizzCon.
$70 or more.
But you do get in that basically the package that you would get if you went to BlizzCon. Like when you walk in the door, you get handed that little gift bag. I don't know if you've ever been to a con.
No.
Well, I have. And you walk in and you get a bag of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of them is a blow up sword. I don't know, some weird stuff.
Whoa.
But you also get the Nexus Battle Beast if you get a virtual
Nice.
ticket.
And you get to see all of their announcements and events live on their stream instead of being there in person.
And it's not just one stream. There's 18 streams.
Yeah.
And all of the panels and things like that are streamed. It's really cool. When I went to PAX, I thought about getting a virtual ticket to PAX while I was at PAX.
Really?
Yeah.
Just so that I could go to double the panels.
Yeah,
But-
some people actually said it's kind of best of both worlds if you actually just buy the virtual ticket versus going to BlizzCon, because you actually get to watch all the events versus
And
pick your favorite, and
You
lose.
don't have to put pants on.
That's a great point. I mean, you can do
That's-
it while eating,
That's
actually.
do it
very
while
important
eating.
to the audience of BlizzCon.
Yeah,
Artanis, despite not using the PTR,
Which I still hold them in major negative attitude for.
Yeah, it's a little rough, dude.
work on the syntax, but yes.
Yeah, no, that was poorly worded. I was like,
Yeah.
what's the word I want to use here? And negative attitude's the one that came out.
Yeah. We've discussed multiple times on the cast that we really think that they should use their PTR since they have a PTR.
Yeah.
But like I said, despite not using the PTR, this was a really smooth launch. Probably, in my opinion, the most smooth launch of the last like 3 or 4 champions.
By far and away.
There's nothing wrong. There was one little kink. Zealot Charge, which your twin blades, the one where you double strike really quick for extra damage. If you chose the Zealot Charge, the one that makes you rush to the enemy, charge to them, you were doing way more damage than you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's fixed. I didn't go that one anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think that most people did. But it can be useful. They did an interview with one of the designers, Nathan Lamuska, and he commented that Artanis' kit is based on the fact that Artanis never gives up and he never retreats.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's a Protoss, dude.
Yeah, well, his kit is very evidentiary of that because he does not have any escape.
Yeah, no, none at all. If you're in there, you in there to get it done.
And maybe if your enemy is 2 feet in front of you and you want to switch places and he happened to be closer to your base,
yeah,
you could hope your prism lands.
Right.
But even then, it's really not that helpful.
No, he's a go hard or go home champion, which is exactly the kind of style I like to play. So I'm excited to get him.
But I have loved watching everybody. You do your Q, and the name of it's escaping me, the blade charge or whatever, where you zoom out and then zoom back.
Right.
And it's so fun to watch people, as you zoom out, they rush toward where you're going, and then they all rush back. And I think that that'll probably change once people catch on to what he does. But
Well, that might actually explain quite a bit what happened to you in ranked play this week, too.
Ooh.
We'll get into that. With...
we will, during our ever-famous Watch Us Climb segment.
Or, in my case, watch me
fall
rapidly...
plummet
approach 50
heavily towards the ground.
Dang.
Yeah, so that's the exciting in-game news, but personally I care more about esports. And I think Bentley's on the same wavelength as me here.
For this week, at least.
Right now, if you are watching our stream, which I see that no one is.
That's not true.
No, that one is us. Don't lie. It's probably because, if you're not watching our stream, it's probably because you might be watching what's going on live right now for the BlizzCon group stage.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't been keeping up to date, though, we're here to help you out. So as of right now on Thursday, we will tell you what happened on Wednesday, what will be happening today, and then what will be happening in the future. So we won't spoil anything going on right now, mostly because I don't think we know what's going on right now.
Yeah,
so
no spoilers.
No spoilers. We're not going to do that to you. But we will spoil what happened yesterday. So if you're unfamiliar with the way the tournament was laid out, it was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I can never remember this, 8 teams from various parts of the world. So we had, a couple from NA, a couple from EU, a couple from, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and whatever and ever. And they were matched up against opposite seeds. So, Tempo Storm being the number 2 seed from NA gets to go against the number 1 seed from Korea, and, so on and so forth throughout all this. And when you win a match, or, it's a best of 3 series. So when you win that series, you get to advance on to the winners matchup.
Yeah.
And so they have 4 teams on one side of the bracket, 4 teams on the other side of the bracket. The winners of the first 2 games on one side of the bracket go and play against each other, while the losers get relegated to a loser matchup. And then the winners play against each other, and whoever won the winners' games on each side of the bracket automatically qualifies to go on to the semifinals of the World Championship. Then the losers' bracket get to play against each other. Whoever wins in that game goes on to play against the loser of the winners' game. Am I making sense? Am I still carrying you along here?
Yeah.
So the that becomes what's called the decider match, if you will.
Interesting.
Whoever wins the decider match gets to take the last place in the semifinals. So, in order to kind of, spell this out a little bit better for you, we're going to start with one side of the bracket here. And that's going to be Team DK Tempo Storm, who played each other, and then Navi and who was a Braveheart that played each other as well.
So Group A, right?
I don't know if they had any formal naming for it, but yeah, we'll call it, for all intents and purposes, Group A. Or if you really want to bug air, all intensive purposes. I just
the joke there that is an inside joke that people are like, huh? People always say all intensive purposes, but that doesn't mean anything. What is an intensive purpose? It's nothing. That phrase is for all intents and purposes.
So grammar Nazi over here who can't even get Artanis' name right. He keeps calling him Sinatra for whatever reason.
If you use the wrong there, I will find you.
Where was I? I lost track. Oh yeah. So the first matchup was surprise, right? I lost where I was. Was Team DK against Tempo Storm. Very good matchup. Actually, I think this is the most even matchup out of all of them.
Yeah.
Out of at least the ones I saw. The game went 2-1 in favor of Team DK. The first game, obviously, DK was going to win it. I mean, they were just pounding the living daylights out of Tempo Storm the entire time. And then Tempo Storm came back on, I think it was Cursed Hollow, was it?
I want to say it was in Battlefield of Eternity.
Oh, it was. You were right. Battlefield
2.
of Eternity. And they won pretty well. I mean, they pretty much had the game in the bag the entire time, it seemed.
They did. And the one thing I'll point out about that game is that I think Abathur on Team DK got about like 5 or 4 deaths. Yes. And it was detrimental. Because that Zeratul, who was playing Zeratul?
Zuna.
There you go. Zuna, of course, was playing Zeratul. And he kept getting... Abathur just kept... overextending, I guess. I mean, hiding in a bush that he wasn't supposed to be in.
Right. So a really good strategy you can employ on Battlefield of Eternity is bringing something like an Abathur, so that whenever the Immortal is pushing down a lane, you can have Abathur in the opposite lane soaking.
Yeah.
The entire idea is that it's like the enemy team is going to be going up and either fighting with their Immortal or against the enemy's Immortal, so you get that extra soak. But they went in and picked this Zeratul with the sole purpose of, okay, we know he's going to be down there soaking the lane. I'm just going to go find him because he won't be able to see me on the screen, and I'm going to pop him. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. And it took essentially Abathur out of the game, which really was detrimental to Team DK because Team DK was running an Illidan-focused comp, which, of course, the big part of that comp is having... Gosh, I got the hiccups going on or something here. Big part of that comp is having the Abathur hat on top of Illidan. So Tempo Storm ended up winning.
Yeah, it was basically a 4v5 for most of the game.
Right.
So that's why it was just a numbers game. And actually, interesting thing about Tempo Storm is that once they got the Immortal, I saw a lot of split pushing instead of pushing with the Immortal.
Right.
Which I think they know that they're a late game team, and they were just pushing for that late game. They're trying to get as much XP as possible at first, and then once the the snowball started happening, they were just like, okay, we got this.
The steaming snowball.
The steaming snowball.
I like it. And then the third game comes along. It was Dragonshire, if I remember correctly. And I think it was, the game was pretty well matched from what I remember towards the beginning. And then Team DK just kind of ran away with it at the end. Ended up, getting the last dragon they needed and pushing down and winning. And just, kind of took it out of control there. So they advanced on to the winner's bracket. Now match 2 comes up. It's Navi versus Braveheart. Braveheart's a Chinese team. I believe they're the second seed out of China. Pretty good team. Over in China, they're very well known for their efficient bush play. So, they're really good at laying ambushes and all that kind of stuff and, just popping out of nowhere and killing your entire team all of a sudden. Yeah, surprise, exactly. But Navi's just known for being, amazing.
Yeah.
Because, my God, if you've ever seen Navi play, you'll be like, oh, those guys are the best in the world.
Yeah.
And no surprise, I do have to say, of all the games I watched, the best games were Navi versus Braveheart. By far and away.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The League of Legends Navi team is no more.
It hasn't been since Season 1.
Oh, wow.
Really?
You're thinking Dota 2, probably.
So I know that recently I read an article that Navi was disbanded. for a game that was not Heroes of the Storm.
It probably Dota 2, because I know for a while they were one of the top Dota 2 teams, or they had one of the top Dota 2s. They had the Swedish guy that was just absurdly good. And they went on, and won the World Championship that one year. As far as I know, they've never been involved in League of Legends esports. I've been following League of Legends esports since Season 2, and I've never seen Navi. It's always been out of Europe. It's always been like Fnatic and Fnatic. Fnatic. I mean,
it's been Fnatic.
It's pretty much been Fnatic. And of course there are other teams based in Europe, but Fnatic's always been the top dog over in Europe. So I guess you're talking about Dota 2. They got disbanded. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I can't speak to any level of confidence with that now that neither of you know. But I mean, if you look it up, one of the Navi teams, and I presumed that it was the same players, but I don't think that that's true because of the size and reach of the Navi name.
Right. They're easily one of the most recognizable esports names out there, especially when it comes to Counter-Strike and Dota 2. They've always been incredibly good teams in that, and now they have an incredibly good Heroes of the Storm team. So they play against Braveheart. They 2-0'd Braveheart, but I would still recommend watching those games if you just want to see incredibly great play. Navi showed why they're going to be the number 2 team in the world after this tournament, in my opinion. So Navi goes on to play Team DK in the winners bracket. Navi, of course, wins that as well, 2-1. And then the elimination games, I believe, have not happened yet between Braveheart and Tempo Storm. I think that's happening tonight or tomorrow or something like that. It's on one of these days before Heroes of the actual BlizzCon itself, because BlizzCon's only going to be the semifinals and the finals.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what do you think here? Because I thought the Tempo had it, man. I thought that they were going to, I think if you listen to one of our past podcasts, we were predicting Tempo Storm and Cloud9 World Championships. It's a done deal. Like,
it's
we
just
were
going to
sure
be like
of
the
it.
famous, rematch. And I mean, I can still see how it could happen. I think Tempo Storm's biggest obstacle here is beating Navi. I think them losing to Team DK was more of a fluke than it was Team DK being better. Don't get me wrong, Team DK is an incredibly good team. Yeah. They're an amazing team, and they're from Korea, so they're good.
Yeah.
But I think Tempo Storm has the formula to beat Team DK, and then the weakest team in this bracket is Braveheart. So I think they'll easily beat Braveheart. They'll go on to play Team DK again in the decider match, and then I think they'll advance to the semifinals.
Okay.
That's just my speculation. It could be true. It could not be true. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. The second side of the bracket, though, so the B group, I guess we're going to say, was Cloud9. I'm going to actually read this. Team Dignitas, GIA, so Giants, and Team YL, which I'm trying to remember what that stands for, and I can't. Cloud9 played GIA. Team Dignitas played Team YL. Cloud9, of course, 2-0'd them because Cloud9 is right now the best team in the world.
It looks like it.
They're playing like it. They're amazing. They're virtually undefeated in the past couple of months. I know they always had problems beating Tempo Storm when it came to the regionals tournament.
Yeah. But
recently, they've just been smashing Tempo Storm. It's been no problem whatsoever. So Cloud9 looking strong, beats GIA, goes on to the winners bracket. Team Dignitas plays against Team YL and beats them. And I think that surprised me more than anything. Team YL was a very strong team coming out of the Asian scene. I mean, I think what blows my mind the most here is outside of Team DK, so one of the 4 teams to advance to the winners bracket was an Asian team. Typically, Asian region is very strong in esports, and you see at least half of the teams advancing coming from that area, and that didn't happen. Europe dominated.
Yeah, I mean, Navi's straight out of Europe, and they're demolishing the game.
And then Team Dignitas also went on to the winners bracket to play against Cloud9. Spoiler alert, Cloud9 did beat them in the winners bracket, so Cloud9 automatically advances to semifinals now too. So the lock-ins for semifinals are Navi and Cloud9. Team YL and GIA are going to play against each other. Honestly, I think YL comes out just because I think they're just stronger than GIA. I think that, What GIA brings to the table really isn't much at all. They're kind of like, I think, the weakest team in this tournament.
Yeah.
Then again, I could be wrong. Any given Sunday, right, with this kind of game, anyone could come out on top. But if I had to put dollars down on it right now, I think the final semifinal setup bracket will be Cloud9 against Dignitas, and then Na'Vi against Tempo Storm.
Okay.
I think it's going to be an all-Western bracket.
Wow.
The stream is calling you a little racist. You are and I've noticed it too. You are always preferential to the Koreans. Like, even what you just said was like, and they're Korean, so
Right.
they're good.
They're good, yeah. No,
Like,
I mean, they're known
right.
for being good, dude.
yeah, no.
but anybody can be good.
Well,
but
no,
you
just-
are right. It's more of a big deal there.
It
Video games in general.
You're right. No, anyone can be good, but it's just a cultural thing. I mean, the fact that, like, last year the Prime Minister of Korea went and attended the League of Legends World Championships
That's
and had a
awesome.
front row seat. Like, you don't see President Obama, you don't see Angela Merkel, you don't see, Tony Blair, you don't see any of those guys going and watching these games live
And
when
if
it's
we
in
were
their country.
gonna have a president that was Obama should have just gone and done it.
Yeah.
Because none of the Republican candidates are going to do it, and none of the Democratic candidates are going to do it.
Yeah, no, it's the attitude that region has. It's like over there, it's like over here, it's the football captain and the cheerleader. That's the stereotypical high school relationship. Over there, it's the guy with the top rank elo and then the hot girl. Like, that's, I mean,
Yeah, they got
that's
the
just
highest macro.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Micro.
what they do. It's crazy, and I love it. I love that kind of attitude, and
his
America
Las
is
Vikings-
quickly going that way.
His Las Vikings play is
His
like
Las- is
beyond the
impeccable.
charts.
No, but I think it's going to be an all-Western bracket just because, for whatever ungodly reason, the Western teams are just better than the Eastern teams.
Yeah.
It's defying of standard, typical play. The only time I actually really see this is in shooter games. Shooter games tend to be more Western, whereas the micromanage games, the MOBA games, things like that, all typically tend to be Eastern. So I don't know if you can almost argue that there's a correlation there.
Yeah.
Because, like, would you consider...
I don't know if I'd say it's a correlation, but I would definitely say it's interesting that the first ever accepted televised event is a shooter, which is a very Western thing. And
In America, we should specify.
Right.
Because,
I'm
of
sure
course,
that every channel in Korea is esports.
And China as well. China as well is a huge amount of esports
Why
there.
do we lag so far behind?
It's just cultural norms. We're different. We have better athletes in America, so people want to watch them play.
That could be it.
It's
Well, really, we buy better athletes.
But I think we're really going to see it once Overwatch is a huge deal for esports. Maybe that'll be, because that's a shooter. I mean, that's a shooter right there. And with a little Blizzard touch, I feel like maybe the Asian countries might pick that up more as like a serious shooter for esports.
It'll be interesting to see how it develops. This just defies, logic to me. It's like, why is it going to be, Cloud9 in an A team and Na'Vi probably a European team in the semifinals? And I love it. I'm loving how this game's playing out across the world.
That's a good point too. You said that we have better athletes. I think that we have a really wide grasp of all sorts of, like, a huge diversity of just people. And so we probably have really elite video game players too. It's just getting it to the point where it's acceptable and it's more watched and it's more popularized so that we can uncover those people.
I have to fully disagree with you here. 110%. The reason why we have better athletes is because more people are playing sports. And so, the more people that play sports, the more competition there is. The more competition there is, the better players get better. And so over in Europe, over in Asia, that's exactly what's happening. Is people aren't out there playing soccer every day. They're not out there playing, football. They're not out there playing baseball. They're playing video games. And so somebody who's, bronze tier or, level 50 or whatever the equivalent is in Dota, are going to be better over in those countries than any bronze tier, level 50, whatever in America, just because there's more competition, there's more serious competition, and there's more of a drive, not only from themselves and their peers, but from outside forces too. Like the celebrities are Faker, they're Mach Noon, they're all these people who are just incredibly great video gamers. Whereas here it's Tom Brady, Brett Favre,
Then
LeBron James. That's who people look up to.
absolutely. And then I don't think that we disagree. I think that you misheard me.
Well, no,
what I'm saying is once we have once the American esports genre grows and more people are exposed to it, and we have more teams playing, then there will be better players.
There's a chance. I just think Asia's just so far ahead of us, we'll never be able to catch up.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll see. 20 years time.
This game came out a year ago.
We'll come back in 20 years time and see where we're at. And I mean, to be fair, the Dota World Championship this past year was an American team winning it, so that's usually a Chinese heavy scene. So,
all right, episode 2096 will follow up.
Yeah, we'll follow up. We'll make notes. We'll set alarms on our phones. I don't know if we can set them that far in the future. We'll figure that out later. But we'll follow up on this, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So I'm excited. I'm also really excited for this tournament. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope I'm proven wrong. I just, I love seeing an underdog come out of nowhere and winning it all. As long as they're not beating, Cloud9 or Tempo
was so much
Storm.
fun to watch.
I know.
They're going to be fun to watch once we get back into the NA scene more, because I think they're going to be a top team next year if they can stay together and actually get sponsorship.
Yeah.
Because Fury is the best warrior player in NA, and I think NA has a stronger warrior scene than other countries. We definitely have the best tank aggressive type players. I mean, look at Soldier, look at Dreadnought. Look at who's the guy for Fury, Hots. It's just you look at these players and they're the best.
Yeah.
Of what they do, and that's why we have the strongest scene in it. And so that'll be really interesting to see what happens, kind of with the meta as we go on.
I'm also excited for this.
And now for Free Week.
Oh, I got plenty of nothing, and nothing's plenty for me.
So this week for Free Week, pretty nice week. Don't you guys agree?
I still like it when I was talking about esports.
Alrighty then.
No, it's a great free week. It's actually my favorite free week from ever. From the show. From the time we started recording this podcast, I think this is the best free week.
Wow. Okay, so
I don't think it's the best ever, but I like this free week a lot.
Well, there is no Abathur.
And I think that my pick. Don't look at my picks.
I'm not. I didn't.
They're gonna differ
He's already
from yours.
copied them.
I know. He wrote them down. He took a picture of it right when he walked in.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so number 1, Sonya. Number 2, Sylvanas. Number 3, Monk. 4 is etc. 5 is Leoric. 6 is Lily, and 7 is Tychus.
I always do think etc. whenever I see ETC's name.
Etc.
It's kind of sad for him, though.
Etc.
It's like
what is that? What is that movie? What's that from?
The King and I.
The King and I. That's right. No. Okay. So good free week. What we have. 1 specialist, 1 assassin, 1 special. Now I know why I like this free week so much, and I didn't realize it before because it has 3 warriors in it.
Yeah.
Though Sonya's an assassin, and then 2 supports. So what are your guys' picks?
Why don't you lead this time, Billy?
Why don't I? Why do I?
Because I feel like what you do is you listen to ours and then you just mix it up for the sake of mixing it up.
Oh
no, you know I like stupid picks.
All right, do it.
All right, so I'm seeing Sonya, Tychus, Sylvanas, Lily, and Leoric.
wow, dude. So guess what I got?
Don't you say
Guess
anything.
what I got?
Okay,
though?
tell me.
So it's Sonya, Sylvanas, Leoric, Lily, and Tychus.
You're fired. See,
Same team.
Yeah, we all had.
No, I do not have that team. My team is way better.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he copied off of me. You see that? Next time,
No way.
From now on, we're
Don't-
making Bentley go first,
Don't
so
give
he
me
doesn't
that.
copy us.
All right, next week he can go first.
Deal.
All right.
Deal.
My team, which is the far superior team, is Sonya, Tychus, Lily, Leoric, Karzim.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You left out Sylvanas?
Yes, I did.
You left out
I
Sylvanas.
know.
Interesting.
My first master skin was Sylvanas.
Your first favorite champion.
My first. No, Kerrigan was my first favorite
Oh,
champion.
really?
when I started this game, I couldn't figure it out. Then I got in Kerrigan, I was like, now this I can do.
All right, so why'd you pick that? Why'd you pick
Double support.
Karazim and Lili over having extra damage?
I think that if Karazim and Lili both go for a damage build,
Wow.
that there will be enough healing by the nature of there being a Lili in the game, and the extra Karazim healing to supplement her going for the dragon build.
Okay.
Lili's dragon damage is
Absurd.
it's assassin level, so she fills the role of that assassin. If not, she's supplemented in healing and damage by Karazim. Leoric is self-explanatory. Sonya is self-explanatory.
She is the best champion in the game right now.
And then Tychus for that extra steady damage.
Okay. I mean, I have to sub out. I agree with you on all those points, except you need Sylvanas in there. Nobody in this group of 7 outside of Sylvanas is particularly good at clearing camps early on in the game. I mean, Leoric does have that Q that does extra damage, but that Q has such a long
Sonya's
cooldown
not
at the
bad.
beginning.
Not
Sonya,
in the beginning of the game. Like
Sonya's not good at the beginning of the game. Tychus can't do it at the beginning of the game, and of course you can't have Lili doing it out there.
Yeah.
So you need that camp clearing, especially if you're going to be doing a map like Mines. It's beneficial.
Have you ever seen a Lili try to solo a bruiser camp?
I'm sure it's the most
And it's
amazing
the most
thing
slow,
ever.
4-minute long process, and like by the time it's done, the game is over.
Right, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Is that where Lili was? Okay.
It's sad that ETC doesn't get any love, because he did get some changes with this warrior patch.
And I thought really hard and long about putting him in here in place of Tychus, because he does have the ability to keep people in place, which is just absolutely wonderful. But Leoric could just go in Tomb and take care of that. He has good displacement, but Tychus has good displacement too. He can silence people, and well, so can Sylvanas. He can heal himself, well, so can Sonya. Like, I mean, everyone in this can do what ETC does, essentially. Yeah. And you combine them all together.
With the exception of that mosh pit, which is very situational.
No, yeah, that's what Entomb's for.
Yeah, exactly.
Entomb can basically do the same thing. Sure, they can fight back if they're in Entomb as opposed to mosh pit, but, I mean, if that's going to be the one thing that justifies you putting in ETC over Leoric, you're playing Leoric wrong, kind of thing, so it's, that's just the way you got to roll. I like it, though. It's actually a free week I can get behind, which we all know is rare. And really, any combination of these 5 could be fun to play together, so.
Agreed.
True that.
Just don't forget to support.
You don't need to support. Bentley and I
Or
found that out.
Sometimes you don't need them. Sometimes you need all 4.
Right. All right. So as we did mention, though, in the free week section of this, we like Sonya. Ever since the Lieutenant Morales patch, Sonya has become ridiculously strong. So we're going to highlight a build for her. I guess
Right now.
The time has come for a new build.
no, I have it.
Oh, okay.
That was just painful.
I forgot.
We are going to do a build.
You know what? I'm not.
right now.
I'm not on
All
my.
right, no.
I'm not on my A game today. I won't lie.
It was just
I
funny.
need to remember what the abilities are even called. Oh, hey, look, this is the build I use too.
I'll just cut you out.
That's fine.
All right.
So for Sonya, one of the strongest champions in the... Well, no, I would say the strongest champion in at least solo play. Maybe not competitive play because, you're doing a lot more teamwork there. But easily in solo play, the strongest champion in the game right now.
Yeah.
Her ultimate Berserker, or whatever it's actually called, is deadly. It just gets you through all that CC, which is just so popular, and it lets you deal extra damage. Plus the fact that she can have the sustainability of a tank while doing the damage of an assassin is absurd. It lets you just dive into the back line. You can kite extremely well with her right now. You can chunk down tanks in no time, or you can just go back and burst down an assassin if you need to. So she has a real versatile ability to just change a game. In order to do a fun build for you, though, I need to find where all of her talents are written down. The first one you want to take, you take Shot of Fury because you want that extra 50 usable Fury whenever you're able to get it. It's on, I believe, a 50-second cooldown, and it takes over your trait. So your trait is essentially gaining Fury, I believe, for every second you've either taken damage or dealing damage. Essentially, when you're in combat, you gain Fury, which is, of course, the method you use. It's your mana, if you will. You use to cast your W, your E, and your ultimate. Your Q is cost-free, and it actually generates Fury as well, in case you were, curious.
Yeah.
So Shot of Fury is absolutely wonderful. The nice thing is Fury does not decay. So you can, right at the beginning of the game, just hit Shot of Fury. All right, cool. Got 50 Fury, ready to go. And then you just do that whenever you can or whenever you need to in order to make sure you always have Fury in your pocket ready to go to use that incredibly powerful W. The only other thing you could possibly take here, I could see block if you're against a heavy auto attack team, but really take Shot of Fury. It's just the strongest you can possibly have at this point in time. Focused attack is the next thing you want to take. It's your level 4 talent. For every 10 seconds, your basic attack against a hero deals 75% additional damage. Basic attacks reduce this cooldown by 1 second. Sonya gets incredibly great attack speed, especially if she's paired up with an Abathur or an Alili, and it allows her to, just get that up faster and faster. And this coincides so amazingly well with the level 7 talent of Follow Through. After you use an ability, your next basic attack within 6 seconds deals an additional 40% damage.
Ooh.
Those two can stack together, and you deal stupid amounts of damage just with one basic auto attack. It's wonderful. There's no reason to ever, just
Has this always been in the game?
No, it's recent.
Okay, I was gonna say because that's kind of interesting.
Right. Then you come up to the ultimates there. Of course, you got Leap, which for the longest time was the go-to. Berserker was pretty weak up until it got buffed in this last patch, so you always took Leap. Now, though, you just want to take Wrath of the Berserker. You deal an extra 40% damage. During that time that you have Wrath of the Berserker going on, things like silences, stuns, slows, roots, polymorphs, whatever basically makes you lose control of your character are reduced by 50%. It lasts for 15 seconds, but gets extended for every 10 Fury you have. So if you're staying there in the middle of a fight, you could almost have it going on indefinitely. I think at one point in the game, I was just rolling through it. This was a quick match game. I was just rolling through towers, turrets, and enemies, and I was able to just keep my Wrath of the Berserker going for a good few minutes there.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Absolutely amazing. And it just lets you deal all that extra damage so you can tear down structures or enemies. At level 13, you want to take Mystical Spear. This is most importantly reducing the cooldown on your spear, which is your Q, so it lets you grab onto enemies by 4 seconds. It's huge. It's a huge amount considering how long it is as is. So getting an extra 4 seconds off of that is awesome. The only downside to it is it automatically also pulls you to the location even if you don't hit anything. The reason this is important is because if you just totally whiff your Q like I did one game, you get pulled away from the fight and then it's like, okay, well, that was cool.
I was just about to say, I don't ever take that talent with Sonya just because of that.
Yeah.
It's great to catch up to people, but if they are even just a decent at juking, you've just given them a huge advantage.
I have to disagree. The way I see it as bad is because if you are an idiot like me and accidentally aim the completely wrong way, then suddenly you split yourself off. The reason it can be beneficial, though, is if they do juke, normally you would just stay behind and you wouldn't be able to catch up to them. But with Mystical Spear, you're automatically pulled right next to them anyways, and you can W them.
Right. I'm talking about more advanced juking, where they understand that you have that talent, and they can juke backwards so that you've displaced yourself equally as much as you already were, rather than catching up. Now, there are situations where that doesn't work,
right?
But it's pretty easy to dodge that.
Irregardless, another favorite word of Aaron. You do have to kind of be on point with it. You got to be careful because no matter what, you are going to get pulled. So you want to make sure.
But it can be useful.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're not pulling yourself into something that will make you regret things much later. At level 16. This one, it's kind of open to interpretation. I see a lot of people take Nerves of Steel, which is a very good talent. It gives you a 30% shield worth maximum of your health, and it lasts for 5 seconds, and you can use it while whirlwinding, which is very important to note because there are many talents that are active on Sonya, and a lot of them are usable while whirlwinding, which is your E. Mm-hmm. And that, lets you gain your shield while you're in the middle of the team fight, whirlwinding around, or it lets you gain, your fury while you're whirlwinding around, whatever and ever. Very important to note because there are some things that are also not usable, and that can really hamper your gameplay. I also sometimes like to take Imposing Presence. I just think anytime you can reduce an enemy's attack speed is awesome, especially if you're playing against an Illidan or a Butcher. That can be important. This is heavily situational. 9 times out of 10, you should go Nerves of Steel. Otherwise, Imposing Presence isn't terrible. Okay. Level 20, Ignore Pain is what you should go. This is the talent that really lets you dive behind or dive into the middle of 5 enemies. You activate Ignore Pain, which reduces damage taken by 75% for 4 seconds. And if you're able to do that, that'll give your healer a chance to really just kind of heal you up while you're doing all this damage to the enemy team. And it really kind of is a good get out of jail free card if you're a player like me that just likes to dive in and then be like, oh, this was a horrible decision. And the nice thing is you can use Ignore Pain. Once that runs out, you just use Hardened Shield or Nerves of Steel, and you live. You just keep living. And on top of the fact that you'll be Wrath of the Berserker, so stun, silences, polymorphs will be 50% less effective against you. All these kind of things. It's just, things that can stack on top of each other allow you to live while dealing stupid amounts of damage.
So this is a pretty tanky build, though, right? Do you think there's some talents that you could substitute out to maximize damage versus sustain?
Absolutely, but then you turn into a glass cannon, and it's like, well, what's the point?
Yep.
I might as well be playing Zeratul.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with Sonya is that she has potential to deal a lot of damage, but if you don't spec her right, she just doesn't have the time to deal that much damage because she's just dead.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, you really translate her from playing a bruiser role to playing an assassin role, and that's just not her strong point whatsoever. You want to bring her into the game because she's essentially like an answer to Leoric, or an answer to somebody who's one of those frontline bullies.
Yeah,
and she's able to get in there and go toe to toe with this person, but deal more damage to them, and that's what wins her those fights.
Right on.
So if you want to climb up in elo, play Sonya. Play her in regular matches first, though. Make sure you get good at her because she does have somewhat of a skill cap, considering the fact that her fury management is so different from mana management.
Yeah.
It doesn't regen as easily. It's a lot more important on how you use that, and you have to know when you're using your abilities because you don't want to whirlwind all the time. Her W is by far and away her best ability because it just deals so much damage. But if you need to live, you want to whirlwind, and it's just all these things. You just need to get a good feel for her. Yeah. So of course, take her into quick match and then take her into Hero League and win every game.
Speaking of climbing.
And now, for Watch Us Climb.
Alright guys, this week for Watch Us Climb was pretty intense. It was Billy and I don't know.
Yeah, boy!
Where were you, Aaron?
Oh, I was playing probably more than you.
You were playing more than me, but just going down.
We'll go into that.
Okay, do you want me to talk about our game first, and then we'll...
No, I'll complain for a second because I'm not going to take long because
let's just check in with where everybody's at. So Aaron, you go first.
So I was at 24.
Respectable.
Took a week off because of the symphony
and work.
Really didn't do any gaming at all of any sort.
Damn.
Between homework, symphony, and work. But I was sick this past week and so I did play a couple games, and I shouldn't have played while I was sick, because I did really bad. But this week I was playing, and I was doing well. Top 1 or 2 players in the game, every game I played. But I've been having really consistent issues with matchmaking. And I told you guys about one specific game where I was playing as Stitches, and it can tell you how good my DPS was that I, as Stitches, had the most experience, the most hero damage, and the most siege damage.
And probably the most damage taken.
Yeah.
And the most damage taken.
So you were carrying the team.
And it was Dragonshire.
Not very well,
And
apparently.
You know how much I love Gazlo.
Yeah.
But I had a Gazlo on my team who made my brain hurt because he demanded that Gazlo is only for taking camps. He is not to fight champions. And I was like, no, that's so wrong. Gazlo will have the highest hero damage, will have the highest siege damage, and will have the highest experience if you play him right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was using his Gravel Bomb on bruiser camps
Wow.
instead of just going the one that makes him like shred through camps. But it was like the most challenging. Oh, it was just very sad.
So
But,
where have you ended up?
now I'm at 28.
Woo!
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Catching
It was
up.
straight plummet.
Yeah. Bentley is starting to catch up to you, though. Where
Yeah.
are you at?
So I am at barely 33. I'm at 34. So just like 10 EXP points away from 33.
Experience
sorry.
points.
Yes, experience points.
Gotcha.
You're something special, sir.
I know it.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh, you're one to talk.
No, I'm having a really off day. I am rank 22. I'm finally at that point where when I win a game, I only get 100 points, and when I lose a game, I lose 100 points. So climbing's actually going to be a little more difficult now. I'm not gaining that 300 nice points every single win. Otherwise, I'd be rank 19 right now. I've actually been doing pretty well. I think, like Bentley was saying, every 3 sets of games I play, I win 2, lose 1 kind of thing going on. So it's like, 2 steps forward, 1 backwards for me right now.
Yeah.
But, I'm happy that I'm winning more than I'm losing, which is always good.
It's all about that positive ratio.
All about that positive ratio.
So tell me about this game.
Yeah.
Where
This
you
game
had
was
all healers.
amazing, except Muradin. So I'll let
so
Bentley
here,
break it
I'll
down.
run it down here real quick. Tyrande was played by Billy, of course. Muradin was myself. And then the 3 randos on our team were Lily, Malfurion, and Monk. Now, in the draft, this was a joke. Like, we were joking, like, okay, you're first picking Tyrande, and I think at one point people had Abathur, and then all these supports, like, hovering over. Right. And we're like, okay, this is funny. And then, one by one, they actually locked in on Malfurion, Lily, and Monk. And it was just so strange. Going into the game, I was like, dude, I'm kind of pissed off right now.
I was really mad because this was our first game of the night.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, great. It's like, here we go. Here we are, trying to play, trying to climb. And these people are ruining it for us.
Like, it was kind of a joke. So, and then we get into the game, and we're like, okay, guys, let's just do it. Like, come on, we got this. I'm sorry, and then let me say what the other team was.
Because they should have spanked us.
Yeah. On paper, this is just, who's gonna win. The other team was Butcher, Tassadar, Tychus, Medic, and Leoric. So just an all-around better comp than ours. I mean, they actually have a comp. And we were on Garden Terror. So, I mean, their team had some pretty good, wave clearing. Leoric with his sweep. Tassadar is pretty great at taking seeds. And even Butcher, I was really the only one, and I guess you have your stun, but I was really the only one with a AoE area effect damage skill, which kind of was a struggling. It was a struggle first game.
Moonfire from Malfurion.
Oh, that's true. Okay. But I was just gonna say early game was rough.
Yes.
I mean, we thought we were gonna lose early game. We're done. I mean, we seemed to lose every encounter we had with the enemy team.
Right.
But I mean late game rolled around, man, and we were just not dying. We were staying in the fight long enough to kill people, but it was really, really drawn out fights.
Yeah, and I was, I think, by far and away the top damage.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
We had, I think it was you and then Karazim were second place, and then Lilian third.
Yeah,
and then of course Malfurion in last place, but he had the most healing by far. It was just so weird because like everybody's build outside of yours and mine were unorthodox compared to like what you should be going.
That's very true. Because Monk went with a damage build, which was smart. He didn't have to go with more heals if we already have 4 healers.
Four other healers.
And I think, it was a fun game. At first, it was stressful, but once we actually won it, how many Garden Tears did we actually get, though? We didn't get a lot. I feel like they got more.
We got less than them, but not by much. We got more than we deserved, but not as much as we could have.
Yeah.
I guess is the right way to word that. No, and it was, everybody on our team was incredibly skilled, it looked.
Yeah.
Everyone played really, really well. They knew how to position their champions. We all knew it's like pile on whoever Bentley's standing on top of kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It went really well, and we were able to pick off their damage dealers while surviving their front line. It was impressive. It was incredibly good communication. Like whenever we'd ping a Terra, everybody would show up and we'd do it. It made me kind of wonder how the game would have gone if we had a true comp. It's like would we have just destroyed the enemy team? On the other hand, I think, because we had such a weird comp, it is the reason why we played better, because we were all just like, all right, we're going to have fun. We're going to let it go. And we did, and we ran a train on them.
Yeah, we did.
So,
towards the end.
60 seconds or less. Tell me, would you do an all-healer team again?
No.
No. But it was interesting, though. Maybe if it was like us, or actually if we did like a team league, and we were all on comms,
and we cheesed,
and we were really messing around. Maybe that could be fun.
I like that our Hero League we're really serious about, but Team League we're it's our bullshit time.
Yes.
I don't think I would ever do it again. Just because this game you can break the meta doesn't mean you should break the meta.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe 3 supports, 2 definitely, 1 absolutely. Having 4 again, no.
What about 3? What about having Tyrande, Karazim, Lili?
I would consider that, simply because Karazim can put out quite a bit of damage and can bridge that gap. Tyrande can be a top damage dealer if played right.
Lili can be a top damage dealer.
And Lili, but also Lili is a top tier support right now.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty much taken the place of Uther, of Rhaegar in that aspect. It's like Lili, Uther are the top 2. So she's very good right now.
Yeah.
I would consider those 3 together. I don't know. If you're going to put 2 of any same class together, make it Assassin. You want that damage. Or Warrior. I know Team Dignitas is very famous for running 2 Warrior comp and, all that kind of stuff. So make it Warrior, make it Assassin, don't make it support.
Yeah. It was a little too much. Too much mustard.
It was crazy. It was all cheesy, and, at first we weren't having fun. And then we started to have fun, and it went awesome.
Yeah, we're like, we need to get serious now because we have a chance.
Look in the comment section below and tell us your favorite builds of the week. Tell us your favorite team comp. Shout out to one of our listeners, Randy.
Good old Randy. Randy works with us. He's awesome. He plays.
He gives us good commentary.
Yeah. He tells us every day. It's like, hey, I'm listening to your cast. It's awesome. So that's. We like hearing that kind of stuff, and we like playing with them too. So, don't be afraid to ever friend us or ask, for our BNet tag, because we'll play with you. Even if we think you're bad, we won't actually tell that to your face. We'll just make fun of you behind your back. And
Randy.
We'll still play with you. Just let us know, like Aaron's saying, it's like, let us know what you think. If you want to hear anything else next week, let us know. We're not going to have any new champ releases for a while yet.
Don't say such things. They're going to surprise us, and next week there's going to be new champions.
It's going to be a Blizzard
there's
BlizzCon
gonna be
thing.
Tons of news coming out of BlizzCon. There's a whole Battlegrounds panel.
The biggest news is that there's actually a glitch in Overwatch, and Billy and I didn't get into the beta.
It's terrible.
That's the glitch.
I got
Dustin Browder, I know you follow us on Twitter, which means without a doubt you follow our podcast. If you could just, walk over the Blizzard campus and knock on Overwatch's door and let them know that Podcast Heroes needs a few keys, at least 1 key for me.
At least one for me.
And then when we get all of the keys ever, and our keychains are jingling, then we will give them out to our viewers.
We could do that too. But I think the important thing is, Aaron, I know, was talking about asking this question earlier. We had considered starting an Overwatch podcast to go hand in hand kind of with this podcast.
Would you listen to an Overwatch podcast?
And so let us know if you would be interested in knowing our opinions on Overwatch. I'm a big FPS gamer, so I would love to get my hands in on this.
The name would be The Overwatch. Patent
I thought
pending,
it was
copyright
the
pending.
Overcast.
Well, actually,
I'm sorry, the Overcast. It can't be the
'Cause,
name of the game.
Overwatch is, kind of the name.
There you go.
yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening this week, and stay classy. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Podcast Heroes, where we podcast about heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.